Okay, we've had another reply to an Ask Aid. That's fantastic. It's from Alex Lally. So £10 gift voucher on the way to you. Thank you very much. The question is, how do I get more power from a 2002 Honda Shadow VT750 C2 Black Spirit? Well, we're going to generalise this answer across the board really, not just for this bike, but we're going to try and make it a little bit more universal for other people's bikes as well. The first thing we'd do is consider the state of the engine before we attempted to do anything. So you've got mileage to consider, you need to check the valves for carbon. There's a couple of things we can do there, obviously the bore and the pistons, if it's a high mileage machine. Before we try any sort of tuning things, we've got to be able to make sure that the engine's going to be able to take it and produce a little bit of extra power at the end of what we do. So the valve condition, you can do a visual check on that, remove the inlet and exhaust and do a visual check with a torch to see if there's any carbon build-ups. If there is, it's an engine strip job. But if they do look in good condition, let's just generalise, say it's a low mileage bike, everything looks tip-top, in great condition. Okay, so you check the valves are great, there's no carbon on them, everything looks tip-top. You then want to check the bores, the cylinders. So you're going to need one of these. Basically, it tests the leak down on the pistons to make sure they're holding compression. It's quite a technical bit of kit, and in all fairness, I don't expect anybody to have one of these, but it is quite important if you're going to take this seriously. What you do basically is you take the spark plug out, start at cylinder 1 obviously, you put it on top dead centre, the piston, which means you put the piston to the top of the bore, you charge it up. All the instructions come with these, by the way. Once you've charged it up, you then it'll tell you basically the leakage rate, okay, and apparently 10% is acceptable, but more than 10%, again, we're going to be wasting our time. We need to do a full engine rebuild. But I just thought I'd show you this little machine. If you haven't got one of these, I'm not saying you're wasting your time trying to get more power out of it, but if you want to do it properly, these are all little bits of kit that we need. Right, okay, so let's say we've checked the valves, they're great. We've checked the bores on the leak down test, they're absolutely fine. The engine is sweet. Okay, we can start looking at maybe increasing the power. What do we do? First things, let's say it's a carburetor model. Let's say you've got a carburetor model bike. You're going to want to get a Dynajet kit basically, if it's available for your vehicle. If it isn't available, then you're going to have to look at pilot jets, main jets, moving the needles. Again, it's not this. None of this is a 2-minute thing, and really needs to be done by a specialist. But these are just some tips basically to generalise it. If you can do the sort of strip downs on the carbs and change main jets, that sort of thing, then fantastic, you're on your way. So that's as if it's a carburetor model. Obviously, to produce more power, we want to get more air in. To get more air in, we're going to take the standard air filter out and we're going to put an aftermarket performance air filter on. Whether it be a standard one that fits in the box or whether you completely remove the airbox altogether and put the conical types on. Okay, so we've got more air coming in, which means we need more fuel. Then we're looking at the main jets, the pilot jets, the needle positions in the carburetors. Okay, so then we've got more air, we've got more fuel. Obviously, that's going to create more power, hopefully. We need to then let it all escape properly. So then we need to look at an exhaust system. Performance exhaust system, obviously, which might mean cutting out the cat, putting a straight through system on, depending on the vehicle, depending on what's available for the vehicle. That's if it's a carburetor model. All right, let's say you've got an injection model bike. That's even better. Power commander. So same with the air filter, do exactly the same there. Same with the exhaust, exactly the same there. But with it being fuel injected, we can put a power commander on and we can have it mapped to increase all those bits we were talking about before. We don't need to change anything in their throttle bodies. We're just basically going to get it dynoed. So we've got the air coming in, we've got the dyno, the power commander creating the more fuel and advancing the ignition, and we've got the exhaust letting it all back out. With the going back to the carburetor one, you will need to have it dynoed at the end as well, just to make sure that it is all running sweet. Because if we get it wrong, we've got flat spots, we've got it running rich, got it running lean. There's all sorts of issues there. So again, you'd need to get it dynoed. But having said all that, I believe that we'd probably be looking at maybe 10% maximum increase in power. It sounds a lot, 10%, but I don't know, on a 750cc V-twin, would we feel it? Would we see it? We'd definitely hear it because of what we've done with the exhaust and stuff, and the fuel and the air intake. Would hear that. It would make it seem like it was more powerful. And yeah, if you did correctly, then yeah, you are going to get an increase in power. Okay, so let's say you've done the induction, you've done the exhaust, you've got it all running right, you've got a little bit of horsepower increase, but you want more. If money's no object, why don't we pop a turbo on? We've seen lots of bikes pulling up at J&S Accessories where the customers have fitted turbos onto the bikes, and the increase then is a lot higher. Don't know whether you want to go as far as to supercharge, I don't know. Kawasaki have just done it, but you know, turbo is always an option. It really is, but it's how far you want to go with the money side and the engineering side, and if you've got the capabilities to do it. But that obviously would increase the horsepower. Ultimately, it's whatever tickles your fancy, really. I just finished building a bike myself. In fact, we documented it. You'll find it on one of the YouTube videos that we've done. What I did was make an exhaust system, a custom made one, let the bike breathe. I didn't change the induction, and therefore I didn't change the carburetors, you know, the main jets. I just changed the exhaust just to give it a nice tone. And by giving it the exhaust a nice tone, it feels better, it feels faster, it sounds a lot better. So listen, maybe if you haven't got the budget to do what all we were just done, maybe get an aftermarket can and just change the note of the bike. Instantly, it feels so much better. That's a cheaper option, and one that you might not have to do a lot more work with. A lot of these end cans now that you can buy, that just bolt straight on, and they'll work with your original jets and your original map work if it's a fuel injection, and your original air intake. So it's a lot less hassle, and sometimes the bike runs a lot better actually with an aftermarket can on. But more importantly, you get that tone that we all want at the end of the day. That is what we would do to increase the power on our motorcycle. I really hope this helps, and if I've been a bit vague on some of the areas, then please ask away and we'll try and go into it a little bit more in depth. But it isn't an easy job. It's a real technical job, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money as well. All right, okay, well thanks, hope that helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the J&S channel for more videos.